Before this starts, I want to say one thing. Thank you to everyone who's been here, and if you're new, thank you too. The support on the 100 and 200 days videos has been amazing, and I am grateful. I've been through a lot making this series, and this pack is giving me a lot of trouble. Now it's time for me to return the favor. Low key, I kind of forgot what we're even doing, but it's day 200 now. Okay, I gotta fix my freaking sounds. Forgot what we're doing, but I know what we need to do. Take a sip out of that dragon canteen. I have some good ideas for what I want to do in this 200 days. However, I don't want to reveal everything right away for what I have planned. So first things first, I want to craft a dragon's eye. So day 200 rolled around and I was immediately back on the grind with a new goal in mind. For the past 200 days, dragons had been giving me a lot of trouble, either killing me outright or making it impossible to settle anywhere due to the destruction caused by their presence. I needed to find a way to level the playing field, and that would be straightforward enough. The dragon's eye would be my first and immediate goal for this stretch of playtime. But I needed glowing gems, which would require glowing ingots, something I didn't have many of, and that weren't very easy to get. I could use silver to craft them, but I didn't have much silver either, so I would need to set out to find both. I also crafted the Ring of Enchanted Eyes, which was a prerequisite for the Dragon's Eye. I also did some waystone housekeeping today, building a waystone, crafting a grave scroll, and making sure I had recall potions ready in case of death. And then I spent the remaining time organizing my base. On day 201 I set out focused on gathering silver and experience, which I needed to reach magic level 32 so I could use the magic mirror. I cleared one of many battle towers during this stretch, and was rewarded with basically nothing. Yippee. I decided to turn my attention underground in hopes of better gains, but also to test out my Ring of Enchanted Eyes. By the night of day 201, I was down in a dungeon, which was a lovely place to be. Spinning is bad, bro. Do I have perplexity too? No, I just have spinning. Okay, which... Oh, you little sucker. I continued my dungeoneering expedition into day 202, but quickly realized it wouldn't provide what I needed. I began searching for a way out, but got lost because I hadn't marked my path and everything looked the same. One downside of using a night vision ring is that it eliminates the need for torches, which also means you don't need to leave a trail to follow back. What an interesting enemy. Oh, that's lava. Ouch. Bad. Okay, so we can... From this way. From this way, yep. Ouch.
Despite that, I eventually found my way to fresh air late into the night of day 202. On day 203, I slew a dragon. Not out of necessity, but out of spite.
My bird finna die, bro. You finna kill my bird, bro. Why is this one so much more? Oh, there's a battle tower back there at least. Sucker.
It wasn't a super safe operation by any means, but I had the upper hand thanks to my rock's maneuverability. Afterward, I discovered 3 battle towers clustered close together. Before I could loot them, however, I needed to eliminate a sea serpent threatening the area, which I did without issue. I spent the day clearing the battle towers, killing the tower golems, and looting everything that was worthwhile. During this time, I hit the most insane trick shot of 2026 on a zombie.
Oh, clip that. End of day 03, right after taking down the second battle tower, I hit the most insane trick shot on a zombie. It is hyper important that that makes it into the video, so make sure to make a very good and important, all in bold note of that.
I then submitted an application to FaZe Clan. Several years late, I know, but I hear they're having staffing issues. Like the previous days, this didn't get me what I needed, so I decided to go down, underwater, that is. My sea serpent armor meant I was essentially a weapon crafted specifically for this kind of dungeon expedition.
Hello, fishes. Night of day 203, I have successfully entered the water dungeon. The water dungeon is low-key a strat though because of my strength 4 buff while wet.
On day 204, I began clearing the underwater dungeon with little trouble, save for the Elder Guardians and their stupid mining fatigue debuff. I got into a few sticky situations, but I was making great XP gains, and quickly leveled up to Magic 32.
Doth the Elder Guardian so desire it, I may oblige. Okay, we should probably... Oh. We should probably just go down here for a moment. Let ourselves recuperate.
After one more close encounter, however, I came to my senses and teleported out to save my life. Back home, I retrieved my magic mirror, which I had stuffed into a random chest for some reason, and started smelting down any silver gear I had lying around, since my expedition had yielded very little of what I actually set out to gather. Early into day 205, I finally had enough silver combined with my stockpiles of glowstone and blaze powder, and I was able to craft the necessary glowing ingots, followed by glowing gems.
2, 3... Ring of enchanted eyes. So what? Oh. Don't really have a stage 5 ice trap. Fire dragon. Do I not have a stage 5 fire dragon skull? Got a stage 4 fire dragon skull.
That's when I realized I was missing a stage 5 fire dragon skull. I had a couple of stage 5 ice dragon skulls, but I needed a fire dragon skull for the recipe because I absolutely did not want an ice dragon eye. That meant I would either need to find a stage 5 dragon skeleton or kill a stage 5 fire dragon. One was rare and the other was a fight that would almost certainly lead to my death. I ventured out once again on day 206. I was aiming to find a stage 5 skull as opposed to fighting a live stage 5 dragon for, obvious reasons. I briefly detoured into a dungeon and obtained an ancient tome which allowed me to apply Unbreaking 4 to my helmet. Once back outside, I lost my mount to a dragon encounter.
Oi, bruv, what'd you do that for?
I was safe, but my rock would take a while to respawn, so I had to wait it out. I hadn't made any progress towards finding the skeleton I needed, or really any skeleton at all. I also didn't know how rare stage 5 dragon skeletons actually were, so I had no idea whether I should even be annoyed or not. On day 207, I found a village with the most bizarre terrain generation I think I've seen to date.
And dragon skulls. Actually, I don't even care about librarians right now, bro. Frick the librarians, bro. What is this generation? Okay. What? Huh? Yeah, I get it. There's a siren over here, dude. Where? How did you get up here? What in the world is going on with this village?
To top it off, just over the mountain, there was a dragon lair buried underground. I decided to dig my way in to get an idea of what I might be up against.
Well. Ooh. Day 207. We came across the dragon skull we need, technically, but the only problem is that this one is attached to a living stage 5 dragon. Interesting.
Against all reason and logic, I decided to wake the dragon up and tried to kill it.
Wake up! Oh, I know I do not want to. Oh, let me out of here. Oh no! Shh, no! Oh. Get out of here. Day 207, it would look as though the decision was made before us. The fire dragon has awoken. It is time. It is time to see if we can kill it. Think. Okay. Oh God. Day 207, that went immediately terribly. I died immediately to the fire dragon. Oopsies.
My confidence and ego had been inflated by how easily I had killed all those stage 3 dragons. Back home, I had a brief moment to reflect on the mistake as night fell.
Not sure if recovering them is practical. Oh my gosh, that's actually terrible. I have a grave skull and a recall potion. Grave scroll and a recall potion that I'm gonna try to use at night when hopefully the dragon might be asleep. We'll see. Okay.
Thankfully, due to my foresight, I had crafted grave scrolls and prepared recall potions at the beginning of this stretch. I spent the night searching for my gear, which had been scattered by the second death.
Okay. But he kind of picked me up and flew over there. Okay, that looks like where the majority of my items are. Oh, come on. Tide Guardian helmet. Okay, so I think this was the secondary death location. Where was the primary death location? Ooh, did he burn up all my items perchance? Oh, that could be annoying if he did. Oh, lordy lord. Oh, everything that I miss despawned right in front of my face.
I was able to recover many of my items, but the rest were lost. Whether they had burned up or despawned, I wasn't sure. Back home, I had realized that I effectively lost all my baubles and my chestplate, though I had recovered the rest of my armor and weapons. The two biggest losses, however, were my Ring of Inertia Null and my Regeneration Ring. I would need to replace the lost gear before continuing. The first item to recover would be the Regeneration Ring, which meant, unfortunately, farming gas tiers again. To kick that can down the road, I first killed the Wither, then I lost the can and couldn't avoid it any longer, and returned to the Nether to farm ghasts. By the end of day 208, I had obtained the first gas tier. I carried on into day 209 despite the poor RNG, immediately noticing a drastic drop in survivability. I killed a few more ghasts and obtained a second tier before realizing I was being an idiot, and I had completely forgotten about my looting sword, and I switched to that. Near the beginning of day 210, I killed a ghast with the looting sword and got 2 more ghast tiers. Absolutely crazy what you can accomplish when you use the right tools. I'm not sure why this entire time, both now and during farming in the previous 100 days, I had forgotten about or outright refused to use looting weapons. My bad, I guess. A mistake for me to pay for. I recrafted the Regeneration Ring and returned to an underwater dungeon to obtain vitamins and farm XP for Agility 32 so I could use the Magic Horseshoe, which would replace the Ring of Inertia Null. The vitamins would grant me immunity to weakness and mining fatigue, and the horseshoe would grant immunity to fall damage. I also needed XP to enchant my replacement chestplate. I got protection 4 on it and applied underwater strider to my boots to boost mobility in the dungeon. I returned to the dungeon and found an Aussie liner for later. On day 211, satisfied that my gear was in good enough spot for the time being, I set back out to find a stage 5 dragon skull, since I still needed it for the dragon's eye, and to get my revenge. As I was flying around, I spotted the dragon from earlier wreaking havoc upon the land. At first I was going to ignore it, but as it tore through the sky, leaving nothing but a trail of destruction in its wake, I knew I couldn't let it stand. My mistake had destroyed this land, and I needed to make up for it. I engaged the dragon from a distance. My maneuverability was much greater than the dragon's, and its size made it an easy target. However, a single hit from its breath would have been enough to send me careening into the earth, and if the fire didn't kill me, the fall would, unless I could teleport out in time. The battle continued, neither of us seeming to give up any ground until we crossed over a mesa biome. As we did, I delivered the killing blow in the form of an arrow that rang true.
I did it. I did it. He's dead. He's dead. Oh, yes. He's dead. Holy. Holy. Gargantuan in scale. No, I don't think I have any. I was amply rewarded with a lot of dragon scales. Oh. You may not reign terror any longer, beast. We now have everything we need to craft the dragon's eye. And let this be known here that I mark myself the enemy of all dragons. No dragon I see, or well, maybe not practically, but no dragon that engages me or terrorizes those who I hold dear or I am sworn to protect will go without meeting its doom by my blade or my bow.
On day 212, I wanted to find the dragon's lair and loot it, but had some trouble doing so. The fight had taken us all over the land and not in one direction, so I couldn't simply follow a trail of destruction back to it. I decided to hop from village to village using waystones, and I also renamed the stupid village Civitate Libertatis, which Google Translate claims is Latin for City of Freedom. Who knows what it actually means though. As I traveled, I finally noticed the telltale signs a dragon had been through the village I was looking for, namely the fact that half of it was gone. Surely enough, on the other side of the mountain, the dragon's lair sat waiting. I carefully made my way into the lair. There was nothing of value. All the loot was garbage, and I was too lazy to mine the ores. Aside from the loot from the dragon itself, this whole dragon slaying business was incredibly unprofitable. I returned home and crafted the dragon's eye.
We got it! We got it! Hallelujah! Night of day 212, the dragon's eye has been obtained. Slaughter! Murder! Say less, King.
On day 213, I went to the dentist. He told me I grind in my sleep. He's a real one for that. I spent the rest of the day hunting battle towers and dungeons, as I still needed agility level 32 for the magic horseshoe. I found an underwater dungeon and began clearing it. While doing so, I also learned about the disenchantment table, which I marked as a future goal. By nightfall, I reached agility level 27 and needed to relocate, as the XP was running dry. On day 214, I continued my travels and entered a purple Lycanites dungeon. From the experience within, I reached agility level 30, but had to teleport out due to the overwhelming number of mobs and status effects.
What are these creatures? What is happening? Holy crap.
On day 215, I needed to expand and reorganize my storage wall, so I did just that. I was running out of room to store all my loot. I also tried my luck at enchanting some books in hopes of getting something worthwhile, but got absolutely nothing, so I slept. After finishing the reorganization of my base on day 216, I teleported to a nearby desert dungeon next to my old home to farm some experience. I cleared out part of the dungeon and got a solid amount of experience in the process. Afterward, I teleported out when my chestplate was at risk of breaking. Once it was safe, I returned and continued clearing the dungeon. On day 217, I finally reached the required agility level for the magic horseshoe. This was a reasonable step up in power, and although it wasn't quite as good as the Stone of Inertia Null that I had before, I was forced to return home because combat was getting too risky without mending on the chestplate, and it was close to breaking again. Once home, I crafted and used a Baubles reforger and attempted some reforges, but the attempts were limited due to low XP. On day 218, I crafted a different reforging station. This one required the primary component used to craft the bauble or equipment instead of experience. I actually got quite a few good reforges, namely a masterful helmet and leggings, a legendary sword and bow, and an undying potion ring of regeneration, which is the best reforge. I ran out of materials for everything else, however. This was a significant improvement to my overall strength. I was officially in a better position than I had been before the death of the Stage 5 Fire Dragon on day 207. On day 219, I set out to hunt sea serpents to get the required materials to reforge the rest of my armor. Of course, I got sidetracked and ended up searching for sea serpents on the middle of the land. I made no direct progress, but I did start developing new ideas and a plan for my next steps.
So it looked like there were just a lot of villages in this vicinity, which is, of course, what we want. Oh, and of course, fourth-spiled battle tower, because I can't speak. Oh, Nani?
So, on day 220, before I could do anything else, I would need to locate a mending book for my chestplate. How fun. The last 100-day stretch of searching for mending books had been incredibly enjoyable, at least according to my fading memory. In reality, it really wasn't, and I had apparently been viewing it through some extremely rose-tinted glasses. On the night of day 220, a blood moon spawned, and I dealt with most of the mobs without issue.
Trick shot! Oh, dude, clip that!
I also landed another insane trick shot. This one on a spider. FaZe Clan, my application is still open. I continued to search on day 221, but once again failed to find a mending book. I killed another fire dragon purely out of a personal vendetta.
Oh, he's dead already. Bit anticlimactic.
But my mount was killed in the process. Such is the price of my hubris, I suppose. But my hubris, as it turns out, isn't that expensive, so I'll continue using it. Along my travels, I came across a mega battle tower and decided it might be a good idea to break into it in hopes of finding a mending book.
You know what? We have no need to take that on. Ooh, must have been the wind.
So I noped out of there. On day 222, I continued my aerial scouting, but didn't locate anything of note. I attempted to lockpick a chest and discovered that the replay mod actually breaks lockpicking. I verified this issue through some research, but chose not to remove the replay mod. That night, I killed yet another dragon purely for the fun of it. The hunt carried on into day 223, but I ran into persistent issues with locked chests, especially in villages and mega battle towers. The sheer number of locked chests were absolutely driving me insane, because there was no way around them without removing the replay mod, and I didn't want to do that. Partly because I usually play with it, but also because I didn't want to risk removing something that might have the potential to corrupt my save.
Day 224, I decided to disable locks from generating on chests going forward because the mod is broken with my current configuration of the game, and I don't really have a way to fix it without risking a save corruption. So locks should no longer generate on chests going forward.
At this point, I was playing really sloppily, and while it didn't affect me immediately or directly, I spent a lot of time waiting for my mount to respawn because I kept getting it killed. Perhaps my hubris really did have a cost, and I just didn't care. On day 225, still no luck.
Across 2 villages with libraries, and neither of them had mending. That's so bad. Finally, when I break the village drought, at least. But then, oh, nothing even. So, oh my godness.
I also killed a beholder and learned that it drops multiple gas tiers. This was both a great lesson and a slap in the face after the previous 200-day stretch, where I'd spent so much time farming ghasts. If I had known beholders were such a good source of them, I would have started with those instead. My frustration was starting to mount. Wait a second, that just sounds exactly like the 200-day script. What the heck? Despite disabling lock generation, mega battle towers seem to generate locks on the top floor chests 100% of the time. So on day 226, I was really annoyed. This is where my frustration peaked during this section, at this little quirk that repeatedly ruined my tower runs. However, luck finally shined through when I found a mending book in a 4-spired battle tower.
Oh, finally. Okay, day 226 finally ended the mending book drought with a 4-spired battle tower, which supplied me with the mending book needed. Now I just need to get a way to get home, apply it to my chest plate, and then we can move forward. I'd love one for my bow too, but At this point, that's probably asking for too much, unless I can find it in this village that I'm going to, the next village I use to teleport home.
On day 227, I applied mending to my chest plate and fully repaired my dragon bow, using the immense stockpile of bones I had acquired from the absolute population decimation of dragons I had been undertaking throughout this stretch.
Okay. Now it's time to carry on with what I wanted to do. I've been wanting to do this for many hundreds of days.
With my gear fully online and operational, I initiated a long-awaited revenge.
Now it is time on day 227 to do something I've been wanting to do for many hundreds of days. Kill the ice dragon that terrorized me in the city all the way back in 100 days. I'm not entirely sure what day it was, but it was while I was trying to get the avian saddle. So it's time to kill a level something something ice dragon. Or try to, at least.
This time, I absolutely destroyed the dragon. It's almost like this whole buggy mess of a game can easily be exploited if you just use your brain for once. Something I had apparently become accustomed to not doing.
Oh, they burn. Oh, there it is. There it is. Eve of day 227, I felled the level 5 ice dragon. At least I think it's level 5. I haven't harvested it yet. But this is probably more monumental than the fire dragon that I slew back in the beginning of this 300 days, because this dragon has been much more a pain in my ass than any other dragon, probably, in this entire series. So, the fact that it's finally dead is amazing. I got, getting plenty of bones from it, and yep, it is in fact a stage 5, so good feeling to finally have it killed. I also have plenty of ice dragon blood, although I didn't realize that if you take all the blood you can't get any scales, so I don't have any ice dragon scales.
With my reward in hand, I returned home and crafted the ice dragon's eye, granting me full ice immunity. Unfortunately, I would need to swap it in and out with the fire dragon's eye, as I couldn't wear both at the same time. On day 228, there was yet another dragon I wanted to face. This time for a good reason, rather than vain triumphs or petty revenge. I wanted to obtain a dragon soul stone in hopes that I could bind a Marok to myself without having to go through the taming process. I entered the Nether, set a respawn anchor as a safety fallback, and went on to locate an ashen mausoleum.
My looting sword, so that when and if I come across some ghasts, I can kill them. Aha. Yes. Yes, indeed. This appears to be what I'm looking for. Okay, dude. Yes. Careful, break it in. Don't want to accidentally break in anything. What?
Black Plague! The dead at your door!
So...
Inside the mausoleum, I have Black Plague mob event triggered, but I ignored it because I am not a 14th century peasant. While in the Nether, I identified limited supplies, namely my lack of extra water, as a logistical concern. Inside the Ashen Mausoleum, I killed a Mantle Gorger mini-boss and obtained the Worm Soul Stone. I decided to save the Soul Stones to open later. It was basically a bulk loot box session because my gambling addiction could not be cured. On day 229, I realized that I'd been traveling through the mausoleum without my backpack on.
So I'm gonna save these and open them like loot boxes at the end of this. Expedition. I don't have my backpack. I don't have my backpack. I don't think that's a big deal, actually, surprisingly. Well, it's kind of a big deal, but not as big of a deal. Let's check here first. What's hiding out? Make sure I didn't just leave it. Here for some reason. Oh my gosh. Come on, let's get out of here. Yeah, so if I remember rightly, I came from over here. It's got a lot of good stuff in it to just throw away. Oh my goodness. That's got my widow ring.
A doubt started forming at the back of my mind. Either I had done something wrong, or this was just general RLCraft bugginess. I stopped recording and rewatched my footage. If you have a sharp eye, you might have already noticed it. Here it is. I'll play it.
When and if I come across some ghasts, I can kill them.
Did you catch that? My backpack disappeared into the Oblivion realm, probably abducted by the Daedric parents and Nocturnal. Because I had clear video evidence of a bug, and because it obviously wasn't my fault, since I am perfect and never do anything wrong, I decided to go into creative mode and give myself the backpack, along with the items that had been inside it. Afterwards, I immediately exited creative mode. Because I must always pay a price for everything I do, the game promptly crashed.
This, yeah, and I do anything. I don't think it's recording that. Oh no. I think I gotta close the program. Because it's been here for a solid... It's been like this for almost 9 minutes now.
I was freaking out and convinced my world had corrupted. Thank the 9 it hadn't. After the mishap, I returned to my base, crafted 3 additional dragon canteens, and then slept through the night to get a clean start on day 230.
I think he'll live. Probably not. Oh, he's about to die in it. Oh, crap. Fudge. Day 230, my rock died en route back to the Ashen Mausoleum, which is kind of annoying, but not the end of the world. I just gotta wait for it to respawn.
This wouldn't be a 100 days video of mine without my rock getting absolutely obliterated time and time again. He's probably got just as many deaths as I do at this point. Upon arrival, I re-entered the Ashen Mausoleum and killed multiple Mantle Gorger mini-bosses. Along the way, I used Netherrack to mark cleared paths and maintain my navigation. I also killed a Molten Titan, which didn't drop a Soulstone, because I'm pretty sure it burned in lava.
Where's the Nether ceiling? Oh, you know what? Night of day 230 killed a Molten Titan mini-boss. Did not drop a soul stone. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it might have burnt up, or it just got lost in one of the walls or something. But I also found out that the Lycanite dungeon I am in actually goes above the bedrock ceiling in the Nether, which poses an interesting / lucrative opportunity. At least it provides an easy way to get up there in the case that I would so desire to build a farm up there, or maybe even search for other structures that can generate through the ceiling.
On day 231, I killed the first Tyrant Dragon mini-boss.
Oh wow, that was like 50 diamonds. Day 231 killed our first Tyrant Dragon mini-boss, which netted us 50 diamonds, as well as a Dragon Soul Stone, which is the main item we are after, so pretty good. There seem to be at least 3 more Tyrant Dragons, or 4 more Tyrant Dragons in this dungeon, so gonna try to kill all 4 of those and then get out of here.
I carried on toppling tyrants throughout the rest of the day, killing 4 in total, and upgrading my Iron Skin ability to 4 out of 5, as well as my melee damage level to 3 out of 10. On day 232, I located and killed the final Tyrant Dragon mini-boss of the dungeon and returned to the overworld. My loot included over 4 full stacks of diamonds, a bunch of blaze powder, primal ember charges, and multiple soul stones. From these stole stones, I can't speak.
Open the Imp Soulstone first. Eric's. A Wildkin. A Serpix. And a Krusk. What was that? Quetzalcoatl. Marok, that's what I wanted. Quetzalcoatl. Ignibus. Ooh, Ignibus. And a Quetzalcoatl. Okay.
I then crafted 3 dragon saddles to test out the mounts, and went to bed. If you're still awake at this point, unlike most 100 Days viewers, you might have guessed what the next goal was. Kill the Ender Dragon. And I set out to do that on day 233, and began searching for the stronghold.
What? Okay, stronghold seems to be somewhere around here, so... Now we can do that. Probably getting close. Apparently not. Are located the stronghold on the eve of day 233.
Upon entering the stronghold, I found what might have been the most poorly generated, stupidly laid out, impossibly nonsensical structure imaginable. I don't really know how to poetically describe it, or how to properly express just how god-awful the layout was. This stronghold was designed by idiots, for idiots, which is fitting, because I am an idiot.
What the heck? What is going on with this stronghold, dude? I'm just a dumbass, I guess? Okay, here's the stronghold. My god. This portal, this generation is so messed up.
After some difficulty, I found the portal room and filled the portal with Eyes of Enders. However, I chose not to enter yet. On day 234, I entered the end.
Ooh, not the best spawn. Okay. Pets, mounts, Maroc. Okay, get into the air. What the hell? We are here in the end.
I destroyed all the end crystals and slayed the Ender Dragon. The fight was incredibly easy and wasn't meaningfully different from vanilla.
Alas, the parties.
I claimed the Dragon Ace as a prize, alongside the Ender Dragon scale, and returned home to sleep.
Grab the egg as a prize. Amazing. It's the end of the game. Okay, skip.
On day 235, I revealed my master plan to craft the Unk Charm. I broke down extra baubles into spectral silt.
Is it correct? Dragon scale? Yes, it does.
Summoned and killed the Wither to obtain a Nether star, and then used those materials to craft a black dragon scale, followed by a multicolored dragon scale. This bauble granted me immunity to both poison and wither, and was the first step to crafting the charm. Day 236, I shifted my full focus to crafting the Unk Charm, and identified the two final components, a Shulker Heart, and honest to God, the Forbidden Fruit itself. The drop rates on these items seemed fairly forgiving, all things considered, but at this point, I didn't want to take any chances. I decided to prepare a dedicated farming sword with Looting 4, Smite 4, Reviled Blade 2, and Knockback 2.
Very
With that
nice.
ready, I traveled to the desert to begin hunting husks for the Forbidden Fruit.
Why is everything so empty? Okay, there's our first husk.
I'm not sure how the legendary Forbidden Fruit found its way from the Garden of Eden to a random desert in the middle of my Minecraft world, but I guess that's probably one of the least weird things I've come across. On day 237, I continued farming through the night and found no luck. To try and improve my odds, I entered a desert dungeon hoping to find husk spawners. The dungeon turned out to be incredibly ineffective. The upper spawners had already been destroyed, and the lower floors didn't spawn husks at all, so I abandoned the dungeon and returned to the surface desert for farming at night.
But how many husks have I killed? 74 husks? Oh, I'm unlucky, dude. I guess there's always the chance it's corrupt at some point at least. Buh.
If I understood the math correctly, I should have only needed to kill around 40 with looting 0 to get a drop. But I had already killed 74 and still hadn't gotten anything, looting or otherwise. During this stretch, I found a stage 5 dragon nest and slew the dragon within. These dragons at this point were just as pathetic as their stage 2 and 3 counterparts. Their loot, however, was not as pathetic.
Okay, I get it. Ooh, I got a dragon egg. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, multiple dragon eggs. Ooh. I also claimed multiple dragon eggs from that encounter, which are a very high value prize and are low-key why I've been fighting so many level 5 dragons in hopes of getting them. So there's 2 or one of the types. Eventually I want to get an ice dragon fire egg too, but now I have 2 fire dragon eggs.
Day 239. By morning, I still had no forbidden fruit. By nightfall, I still had no forbidden fruit. Nothing changed. On day 240, I continued farming husks. Believe it or not, this time I decided to craft 2 potion rings of speed to actively help my case.
Come on. Ooh, yes, finally, okay.
Maybe they were actually potion rings of luck, because shortly afterward I killed a husk and finally obtained the forbidden fruit. Yay. On day 241 I entered the end to hunt for a shulker heart. While trying to access the outer end islands, I encountered an end gateway bug that required a relog.
Okay, what is going on? A relog will fix the issue. Had to pop an enchanted golden apple though to deal with it. Basically, so that's really nice. We'll definitely take advantage of those as I go. Okay, come on, let me up. Oh, shulkers. Real bad. Let me down. Shulker shells are good. Oh, there we go. We'll go down here. Can I seriously not place blocks? You're kidding me. Stupid dragon, what are you? Worthless freaking dragon, dude. Okay, I get it. Stop. What are you doing? Mad dash to the portal should be okay. Alright, day 242. Successfully made it back to my base.
Turned home and crafted the Ankh charm.
Graceful. Oh, well, that's the best reforge you can get on it.
From there, I shifted focus to the next long-term overarching goal of this series, the Lycanite bosses. I doubted I would be able to complete them within this 100-day stretch, specifically the roughly 60 days I still had left, but I needed to start preparing for them as soon as possible. To do that, I would need the best armor I could possibly craft, so I crafted a full set of dragon scale armor, as well as a flamed dragon bone greatsword. I'd reforged all of the new gear to have the optimal reforges.
Masterful, dude. What is this luck? Oh my god.
With that done, I shifted my focus towards preparation and infrastructure. The first item on my list was a disenchantment table. I would need this to strip enchantments off armor I found, which would hopefully be an effective way of acquiring strong enchantments for my gear, as opposed to enchanting. On day 243, I began preparing for the disenchantment table. I followed a guide I found on Reddit, because I wouldn't have known the optimal way to do it on my own and probably wouldn't have been able to figure it out. The first step called for crafting a switch bow and gathering materials for love potions, crafting those love potions, and then turning them into love arrows. After turning them into love arrows on day 244, I needed to craft a switch bow transforming altar to convert them into transforming love arrows. To do that, I needed quartz, so I teleported to a monument to gather materials. I harvested all the required quartz variants, returned home, built the transforming altar, and confirmed that it worked. On day 245, I retrieved the arrows and went to locate a defiled lands biome in order to find golden bookworms.
245 found a defiled lands biome. Is that that's what I need, right? Oh, we need him to stay alive. Oh, that's so lucky. Where? Oh, there's two. Oh, that's so lucky. That means that increases our chances so much. Okay. Okay. Nice.
By the end of the day, I had transported one of them back safely to base. On day 246, I went out and retrieved the second bookworm, bringing it safely back to base. After that, I gathered the materials needed to craft a bookworm analyzer. This required umbrium ore, a scuttler eye, and both of them I was able to obtain fairly quickly. On day 247, I began breeding bookworms in earnest. This involved a strict segregation regimen, as all good Minecraft Let's Plays inevitably descend into, whether it's villagers or creatures. The process was simple. Use the transforming love arrows to get the bookworms to initiate fun time, and once the offspring of the debauchery were born, check the result. If it was golden, it stayed on the upper levels. If it wasn't, it went to the lower levels. I quickly discovered that the bookworm analyzer was pretty much useless, and that I could simply set a 5-minute timer for the breeding cooldown instead, which worked far better.
Oh my god, you worthless bookworm. Get into the hole. These guys are gonna drive me insane. Oops, did something happen? Must have been the wind. Oh yeah, you go in there too! Oh, you idiot. Okay. Oh, I forgot to set the timer.
On day 248, I continued the grind. Set a timer, wait for it to go off, breed the worms, inevitably get nothing good. On day 249, I began work on a simple villager breeder to give myself an alternate source of potential enchantments and to break up the monotony of watching bookworms reproduce for hours on end. Thankfully, later that day, I spawned a third golden bookworm. While building the villager breeder, however, I noticed that my glass blocks were fully transparent. You couldn't actually see them at all. This was a problem I'd known about for a while, but at this point I couldn't ignore it anymore. I would need to figure it out, which ultimately required switching my shader pack, a process I ended up doing a couple times over the next days. On day 250, I changed my shader pack from complementary shaders to Silder's vibrant shaders and began collecting sand and smelting glass for the villager breeder. I also continued golden bookworm farming, which I noted as extremely frustrating because the bookworms were poorly behaved.
No, don't. Why? Come on, every single time. And of course. Why? Why? Disgusting creatures. I hate these freaking bookworms, dude! These are the freaking dumbest mobs in the game. They're miserable to try to farm. Just miserable. Just the stupidest hitboxes, the dumbest. Where are they going? What you guys are? You idiot mobs! You idiots! Why? The one place you have zero business going. Yeah, let's go there. Oh, you idiot mobs. You idiot mobs. Get the hell back in there.
On day 251, I largely finished the villager breeder, but I was running into performance issues with these shaders, so I switched to mellow shaders, which performed better while still looking good. After this, I planned to capture villagers and then build a greenhouse so they could reproduce year-round.
Yeah, because we're not growing anything. Eve of day 251, got the first villager in, but I think I might need farmer villagers. I'm not sure quite how the 1.12.2 villagers work, to be honest. I forgot.
Bright and early on day 252, I relocated the second villager into his new home and began collecting cyan coral from the ocean so I could craft greenhouse glass. It turns out the free citizens of my new empire come with built-in Aegis protection, meaning I no longer had to worry about hostile mobs around my base. I still needed more glass to finish the greenhouse, so I collected additional sand and returned to base to smelt it. On day 253, I finished part of the greenhouse roof and confirmed it was working. I also crafted an iron door for breeder access.
Simple enough, I guess. Why am I using lever? Am I just dumb? Like, why would I use levers for this? That's the stupidest thing ever. Crafted an iron door and levers to activate the, to get in and out of the villager breeder, and then I realized that using levers for that is so stupid. I got no idea why I crafted levers. So I replaced them with buttons.
On day 254, I decided that all of this farming stuff was way too boring, so I chose to actively hunt golden bookworms in defiled lands instead.
These guys are fairly easy to see. Because, oh my gosh, he died of not me, so that probably, oh. Oh, come on. At least I think that's... We'll see. Oh, is that everything I need? That is everything I need. Why is that so much what? Wow, okay. Midday 254, the second golden bookworm I killed gave me 4 golden bookworm scales, which is more than enough for what I need, which is the disenchantment table, which I only need 2 for, so that's kind of crazy. I'm just gonna scout through this defiled lands biome, see if I can find any more, and then maybe make a little stockpile of golden scales if possible. Oh, lights are bugged. Okay. What the heck? Anyways, so yeah.
That had to be the fastest resolution to what I thought was going to be a 17 trillion hour grind session.
There we go. So... Those are my golden bookworm boots, you know, just waste. Alright, how does this work then? A book? Huh. So, I gotta figure this out. Night at day 254 crafted the disenchantment table, and I'm trying to figure out how exactly it works.
And discovered that the default configuration only allows 1 enchantment to be removed per item before it's destroyed. I adjusted the config to reduce durability damage, allowing multiple enchantments per item to be removed as a deliberate quality of life and balance change. On day 255, I decided my best bet for obtaining high-tiered enchantments for the time being would be end cities. The plan was simple. Go in, gather as much gear as I could possibly carry, bring it back, and disenchant it. My targets were mending books and any advanced enchantments. Before setting out, however, I killed the Wither, which was a trivial matter at this point, to craft the Waystone, making access between the portal room and my base much faster. And I entered the end by evening. On day 256, I continued my end city looting. I found multiple Aussie liners, 3 or 4 in total, ultimately securing more than I would ever realistically need. Even so, I continued picking them up because I was so traumatized from the first 200 days that every time I saw one, I would grab it. I also found an advanced mending book. Overall, this confirmed that the loot quality was there, the strategy worked, it was just time intensive. But at this point, I don't think there was a single option that wouldn't be.
I like the subtle implication that Endermen just sit around all day building structures of themselves. Okay. What the hell is this? Clear skies. Oh, another Aussie liner. Okay, that damage is actually kind of crazy. Ooh, that damage is actually kind of crazy. What the hell is doing that? Okay, Jesus. Talk about intensity, dude. I don't know why I drank that. That's probably a terrible idea. Enderman spawner is interesting, but I'm not gonna touch it. I have nothing against Enderman. Okay, yeah, that's very bad. Why I would even ever attempt to do parkour is beyond me. That was almost the end. That was almost the end. That was almost it. Oh my god.
I continued looting on day 258 and kept running into close calls. I disengaged early from a couple of structures to avoid any catastrophic losses and shifted toward safer, more selective looting.
Oh, I'm dead. Day 258 had an incredibly close call with Darklings. Gotta be the stupidest enemy in this game. At least one of them. They're insane. I got down to red health on my head, which I don't actually know how close that meant I was to death, but I was closer than I've been in a while, that's for sure. Holy crap, this is just insane. How the density, the obscene amount of enemies. Oh my goodness. Definitely deserving of the title The End. I guess. I mean, I can't complain too much because it's like, yeah, it's tough. It's supposed to be tough, but holy crap, it's my heart. Not good for my heart, probably.
On day 259, I decided to cut the expedition a little short to consolidate my loot. I began my return journey and explored the void space between the outer islands and the main island. Who would have guessed that nothing would spawn there? It's called the Void, after all.
I made it back home and slept.
And then slept.
Okay, yeah, so shulker boxes of stuffs. Okay, so I'll do this bit by bit. I got 2.5 shulker boxes full of various loot. I'll break that down in a bit. In terms of stackable loot, I got about 2.5 stacks of diamonds, some glowing ingots, some spectral silt, and yeah, 4 golden bookworm scales as well. Alright, to start with the non-stackable special loots, I got 6 elytra, 5 shulker hearts, and 4 Aussie liner chest plates. I got 2 potion rings, one of speed I got, which have enchantments on them. I'll go and list one by one. Advanced looting 1, reinforced sharpness 1, mending advanced efficiency 2, reinforced sharpness 2, advanced efficiency protection 1, protection 4, mending, advanced bane of arthropod, mending.
At this point, I didn't want to go back into the end and instead wanted to explore more of what RLCraft had to offer, like the Lycanites dungeon and briefly the Twilight Forest mod. It was also around this time that I had started researching dragon hatching mechanics so I could hatch the dragon eggs I had collected. On day 262, I entered a Lycanites dungeon and got absolutely obliterated by a crab spider that shot me what can only be described as nuclear waste.
You're kidding me. Huh? Why am I up here, dude? Are you kidding me? Which... Watch me lose all of my items.
I recovered my items and decided to disengage because I was not about that life. I shifted my focus to crafting the Shield of Honor bauble and hatching a dragon. To craft the shield, I would need glowing gems and ender biotite. To get more glowing gems, I looted silver gear and killed a nice dragon, clearing out its roost for the silver and silver nuggets. I then entered the Nether to collect glowstone and then had to return home to sleep. On day 264, I crafted the glowing gems, acquired the ender biotite, and then crafted the Shield of Honor bauble. I also spent some time farming pinky meat in the end to cook for food. On day 265, I returned to the Nether to collect soul sand, and then fought the Wither to obtain another Nether star. This allowed me to craft a second potion ring of regeneration, stacking the buff and giving me regeneration 2.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
On day 266, I began the dragon hatching process, which required building a perpetual fire out of netherrack. I also disabled dragon griefing so my base wouldn't be destroyed as the dragon grew up. The dragon hatched shortly after.
Oh my goodness, he's hatched. He's here. And his eyes are glowing. Okay, we gotta fix that. Hello, pet dragon. Oh. It's just like a parrot, isn't it? Oh my god, look at him. Aww. 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 Whoops. Oh.
That night, I gathered the necessary materials to craft a Twilight Forest portal. I threw in the diamond after crafting the portal, and nothing happened.
What?
It was at this moment that I realized that Twilight Forest isn't actually part of RLCraft. Like, what the heck? Why did I think it was part of the mod pack? I have no clue. When I was recording this video, I had it mapped out in my head. kill the stage 5 fire dragons and get a dragon's eye, kill the tyrant dragon and get a dragon mount, kill the ender dragon and get the dragon skill, do end city looting and see what the pack had to offer, and then move on to some of the other content. For some reason, I thought Twilight Forest was part of that list. It's not. I felt like a kid who just found out that the Aether portal isn't actually a real thing in Minecraft. I spent the rest of the day bawling my eyes out. Literally, not clickbait.
Chicken jockey!
Hello, chicken. That's it's crazy. Make a note, day 267. Since Twilight Forest isn't part of RLCraft, I actually don't know what to do now. In the second I had planned on that.
Rather than sit idle, I decided to stay productive and entered a mega battle tower, hoping to at least walk away with some emeralds. On day 268, I continued pushing through the mega battle tower, but ultimately decided to disengage. The mob density was too high and the emerald drops were too low to justify the risk.
Not worth it, bro. Not worth it at all.
On day 269, I determined that the most effective and probably the only way forward without wasting a huge amount of time waiting for villagers to breed was end city looting. So I returned to the end for the dreaded grind. On day 270, I continued my end looting expedition and found my first piece of advanced protection gear. This was a big deal as it confirmed that advanced protection gear could actually spawn. On day 271, it turns out I was the one who was lobotomized. I thought I had found advanced protection 4, advanced mending boots, because at the time my eyes were bleeding, my brain was bleeding, and my head was absolutely not in the right place. I had been staring at the end sky box for who knows how long, misread Protection 4 as Advanced Protection 4, and got way too excited.
Oh, found the god gear. Literally, while I was writing down that note, I found an Advanced Protection 4, Advanced Mending set of iron boots, which obviously the iron boots are useless, but like Advanced Protection 4 is literally the best advanced protection, so that's one piece of gear done already, so I just need to get enough for 3 more. Also, I'm getting so many Aussie liners. Aussie liners are essentially useless now, or worthless.
After returning home on day 272, I began consolidating my loot and wondered where my Advanced Protection 4 boots were.
And just figuring out where I stand by the end of the day at least. So where is our goody? Didn't I find something last time that was advanced protection, advanced mending?
I wouldn't come to realize until writing this, probably about 3 days after the fact, that I hadn't misplaced them. They never existed in the first place. At this point, I had run out of books for disenchanting, so I needed to raid a village library, specifically the one at my old base, because I have no love for that place and would mercilessly exploit it. But the night of day 272, I had consolidated all of my enchanted books into one location at my base and began combining them. By day 273, it was clear I had nowhere near enough experience to continue combining books, so I needed to resolve that problem. I decided Mega Battle Towers would be the best option. I reached the tower and cleared the top 4 floors easily, though all the chests were locked, which was annoying. I gained 36 levels in total, and was able to apply advanced thorns to my current armor pieces. After completing all these upgrades, I went to sleep. On day 274, I returned to the end, this time with a highly selected looting regimen. I would only take items that had advanced protection, advanced sharpness, advanced mending, or max level versions of other enchantments such as blast protection or fire protection, since I already had plenty of lower tier variants. I got lucky and found 2 advanced protection books back to back. At that rate, I would only need to do it about 30 more times. On day 275, I continued prioritizing large end city complexes along with their ships, since they consistently yielded the most valuable loot. This strategy paid off, as I found another advanced protection item. On day 276, I boosted my render distance, which didn't impact performance, and helped me spot end cities further off in the distance without wandering aimlessly. I also found my first advanced sharpness item, which was good, I guess. On day 277, I carried on, but my progress slowed slightly. I found an end ship where I could land and safely consolidate my loot, and I noted that I had secured enough advanced mending books for all my future god gear. I also killed a blighted battle tower golem, go big or go home, and obtained potion rings of strength and haste. I found an additional advanced sharpness 2 weapon as well, which meant I had effectually secured advanced sharpness 3 once I finished recombining later. Nothing much to note on day 278 except that I found another advanced protection item, 1 piece of armor, and 1 advanced mending item. Day 279 was more the same. I found 1 advanced protection armor piece, and I also only had 2 shulker boxes left to fill, and I wanted to fill them all.
We gotta move to these. Look at this. Every single one, not this one. This one, this one, this one. Every single one of these. Filled to the brim with the goods. I'm what they call in the business. I'm kind of a big deal. You know, kind of a big deal.
You're going to use Elytra now?
Hell no, Elytra suck. I don't have any firework rockets anyway. So I can only really use... Oh yeah, look at this. This is all the cities I've explored.
Dang.
And marked. I've explored more, but I didn't start marking them until later. I thought that would be a good idea. But yeah, so...
Did you kill the Ender Dragon too?
Oh yeah, I did that ages ago. See, where is it? This is the center end island. So yeah, I've explored a good bit around.
What's the Nether portal in there?
It's not a Nether portal. It's just the only portal icon they have.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just putting that. Those are all the end gateways, you know.
Oh, okay.
On day 280, I saw much of the same, with a few random advanced protection, advanced sharpness, and protection items. I also began moving back toward the main end island because I wanted to get out of this place. On day 281, final sweeps with approximately half a shulker box remaining to fill. After I got it, I traveled back toward the central end island and successfully exited the end, returning to the overworld with my loot secure. On day 282 was another loot consolidation and sit rep day. I had obtained 2 stacks of gold blocks, 2 3/4 stacks of iron blocks, nearly a stack of diamond blocks, and 15 emerald blocks, along with assorted potion rings, baubles, expeditions, and enchanted items. I continued disenchanting through the night, despite a swarm event occurring. On day 283, I continued to disenchant and consolidate and confirmed that I had 10 total advanced mending books with 5 surplus. Advanced mending was fully solved for all future gear. It was good to see the progress, even though I was going insane from all the disenchanting. On day 284, my final high-value enchantment status was 1 Advanced Protection 4 book, 1 Advanced Protection 2 book, 1 Advanced Protection 1 book, and 1 Advanced Sharpness 3 book nearing level 4. I also determined that I wanted to craft a great pickaxe, a god-tier dragonbone pickaxe to be precise, and I needed 31 XP levels to combine all the enchantments, along with mining level 24, which I didn't have yet. On day 285, I went to a mega battle tower, cleared the boss and every room, and gained enough XP to enchant the pickaxe. However, I was still short of mining level 24, so that became the next grind. On day 286, I set out to find a rare pillager city that I had seen way back during the first 200 days, and I finally located it. I had to return to base after realizing I hadn't brought my backpack or shulker boxes, which I kinda needed to loot the structure. While I was engaging the structure, a dragon attacked, but was defeated easily, because dragons don't really do anything to animals.
What the? Oh, fire dragon. Okay, yeah, I get it. Let me out of here, please. Okay, I get it, fire dragon. You don't do damage to me. You should just chill for a second. Bastard. Who the fuck do you think he is? Night of day 286, while I was completely fairly and, totally within my right trying to destroy the pillager structure, a dragon descended upon me and tried to take tried to steal my mojo like a little jerk. But I beat him because dragons literally can't do damage to me. The only problem is he is now burning down half these structures, so the epic showdown I wanted with it may not happen now. We'll see.
Nonetheless, I entered the pillager city and began looting it. The loot was decent, but unsurprisingly and ultimately not as good as the end. On day 287, I carried on, but witches were causing severe disruption with their long duration spinning and perplexity debuffs.
Are you kidding me? 43 seconds? What the hell? Dude, witches are the most disgusting mob in this entire game. They really just burned down their mansion and then gave me spinning for 50 seconds. The most disgusting potion effect in the entire game. Easily.
Which are still the most insane mechanics in this entire game. Oh my gosh, the amount of time I would spend over the next couple of days just sitting there, unable to move, or being blown to bits was absolutely absurd. As a consolation prize, however, I gained enough levels to use the Dragonbone pickups and attained my first totems of Undying. Day 288. There's not much I could say for the chaos that was going on. Just look at this. In spite of all that, I destroyed the end crystal at the top of the structure and gained the ability to break the spawners, which I could now do instantly thanks to my dragon bone pickaxe. The area was effectively beaten, though not fully cleared, but I chose to disengage temporarily due to the saturation of threats. My progress was secure, and I could defer the cleanup to a future visit.
I mean, day 289 is technically the future. I focused on XP farming and a systemic revenge campaign against the witches, killing every single one I came across, gloating over each kill, destroying their spawners with glee, and generally trying to inflict as much suffering as possible. If I could describe my feelings toward witches in one sentence, it would be the AM monologue from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
There are 387.44 million miles of printed circuits in wafer-thin layers that fill my complex. If the word hate was engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal 1/1 billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this micro-instant.
The loot at the end of the day was pretty unamazing, so I returned to the base and decided to pursue Lycanite dungeons instead.
On day 290, I returned to the Lycanite dungeon that had previously ended in my death and killed the mini-boss responsible pretty handily.
Narration soulstone, buddies. We can just do that. Waste.
I carried on through the night and obtained several soulstones.
Alright. Midday 291. I successfully cleared out all of the bosses in that dungeon, in that Lycanite's dungeon. They are all dead. So now I'm gonna do an soulstone unboxing. Day 291. In those things, I got like an Epion, a Balion, Chupacabra, Barghast, a few Beholders, and a Shade, as well as 2 Grells. So basically a bunch of made up sounding stuff, but cool, I guess.
After this, I shifted focus to level up my tamed dragon, which required dragon meals. I crafted what I could with the materials I had, but I would need to farm more, of course, because nothing in this game can be obtained without farming. On day 293, I continued farming meat sources, including jousts, and used stored meat at an old base. The dragon had reached stage 3 and became rideable on this day.
And my dragon is now stage 3 and rideable. The dragon, guys.
And I also calculated how far I would need to go to reach a max stage 5 dragon, and found I was roughly halfway there. On day 294, I went out collecting bones because I had run out of them. While traveling, I realized that the former stage 5 ice dragon village was much closer than I had previously thought, and it kind of broke my brain how close it was to everything else.
They just aren't terrible. Wait, what? Are you kidding me? That I would go goo and then oh my goodness, is that close the whole time? And I never figured that out? Oh my goodness, that's kind of crazy, to be honest. The world is a connection. Did I throw my diamond sword out? I think I did. Idiot. I seriously... That thing was... Did I... No way, dude. How did I do that?
I was apparently lobotomized because I accidentally discarded my looting force diamond sword, which was incredibly annoying. So I replaced it with an advanced looting 3 diamond sword, which I think was slightly better.
Oh, that's a good pickup. I think that means we got another advanced protection 3. That's good.
Day 295, while farming bones, I killed a boss skeleton and obtained an Advanced Protection 2 diamond leggings, which enabled another Advanced Protection 3 combination.
Oops, sorry, Mr. Dragon. Oh, there we go, stage 5. He's not technically fully grown, but he is fully grown. Day 296. I have achieved a stage 5 tamed dragon. Well, he's not technically maxed out yet. He will be in about 13, no, wait, 20, no, 17 days or something like that.
By this point, all of my major goals for this segment were completed. I decided that I had been living in squalor for far too long, so it was time to remodel the base. So I did just that. I continued the remodel on day 297. Then I finished the remodeling on day 298. I also found and killed the phosphorescent chupacabra that had been haunting the area near my base, and I slept at the end of the day. On day 299, something like 60 days after I built the villager breeder, the first librarian villager finally spawned and gave me terrible trades. Thank you, RLCraft. Very cool. Despite that, it was undeniable that I had come rather far during this 100-day stretch. Probably much more than during the previous 200 days combined. I had gotten a lot done, made myself significantly stronger, and built up enough infrastructure to accelerate my progress even faster over the next 100 days. I spent most of day 299 reflecting. By the end of 300 days, I wasn't just surviving anymore. I had power, I had control, and I had a world that finally bent instead of breaking me, even if it was only just a little bit. And that means the next 100 days won't be really about survival at all. I kept pushing the stone, and in the beginning, I had thought that there would never be an end. Maybe, just maybe, there would be.